Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mint. Recently, Linux Mint came out with a brand new release, Linux Mint Wilma 22. And the other day, I did a video trying to upgrade from 21.3 to 22, going through their upgrade process. And on the video, after an hour and a half, well, the video wasn't an hour and a half, but after an hour and a half, it was still installing the upgrade, and there was no way to tell what percentage I was at, and it was time to eat dinner, so I bailed out. And in the video, on the conclusion of my video, I gave it a really bad review, and I hardly ever do that. So today, I thought I would go through a fresh install of the brand new Linux Mint 22 Wilma. So let's get to it. So I've booted up into a virtual machine of an ISO of the brand new Linux Mint 22 Wilma. And the resolution's off because it's a virtual machine, so I'm going to fix that right away. And I'm going to have to fix it one more time after I do the install. Let's click on Display Settings. Let's just change this. I like to do 1360. All right, that's good. I like that. Keep the new configuration. And I'm not going to go through a tour right now. I'm just going to go through an install. So I'm going to click this on. The install should take 5 minutes, 10 at the most. And like I said, I bailed out of upgrading from 21.3 to 22 after an hour and a half. So it says English. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to leave it on English keyboard. English US, that is. That's good enough for me. And you know what? My face is blocking some of the stuff. How about that? Let's do it that way. And I'm going to click on Install Media Codecs. This is to make sure all your multimedia works. And I'm going to continue. And I'm just going to let it go through. And now at this point, I want to encrypt my installation. And I don't want to encrypt the home drive or my home partition. I want to encrypt the whole install. So I'm going to click on Advanced Features. And I'm going to click on Use LVM, like that. And then I'm going to click on Encrypt. Then I'm going to say OK, or click on OK. I'll say OK as well. And now I'm going to go Install Now. Now, I have to choose an encryption password. And if you forget this encryption password, you're toast. You'll never be able to get back in here. Now, you can change your encryption password after the fact, but you have to know what the original encryption password is. If you forget your encryption password, you won't be able to change it, and you won't be able to get back into your system. So I'm going to pick a really good one, and you can eye it just to make sure it's okay, and it's good. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm not going to do a recovery key. And I'm going to click on Install Now. And warning, we're going to erase the disk. Well, I got nothing on this disk because it's a virtual machine. I'm going to continue. And it recognizes my city. Now I'm going to put in my name. Let's put in my name, Mensch. And you can call this install whatever you want to call it. I want to erase this. Let's just delete that. Let's call it Mint 22. And my name is Mensch. Now I'm going to put a password in. This is going to be a user password. So I'm going to put my user password in. And I'm going to make my user password the same as my encryption password. But really, if you want better security, you should have a different password. You should have 3 passwords for really good security. An encryption password, a user password, and a root password. But I'm going to make them all the same because this is a virtual machine. So I'm going to check my user password now, and it's good. And I'm going to do it again. And require my password to log in? Yes. Let's hit continue. And it's going through the install. So at this point, I'm going to pause the video. And I'm thinking this, and we should check the time. It's 17:56. So we should time this. It's 17:50. Oh, it just changed to 17. Let's call it 17:56. We're going through the install. It should take at the most 10 minutes because I have fast internet. So while it's going through the install, I'm just going to go to the Linux Mint website. And of course, it's Linux Mint 22. And I'm just going to bring this down a bit. And of course, you go to links and go to blog and go down here to what's new in Linux Mint 22 and go to this page. It tells you it's going to be supported till 2029. That's 5 years. That's pretty good. And it's going to tell you what's involved in Linux Mint 22. Better language support, support for new technology. I'm not going to read all this to you. I'm just going to look at the headlines. Better support for Pipewire. Your themes are going to be supported to GTK4. Support for popular features. And doesn't look like there's a whole lot of new things there. I didn't think the page was going to be so small. And you can also, let's just check our installation. Almost finished copying files. Now, once it finishes copying the files, let's just make that full screen. Once it finishes copying the files, then it's going to install the system. So we started at 56, so we're 5 minutes into it. I think it's going to take another 5 minutes, and I think the whole thing is going to be 10 minutes. And that's why when I bailed out of my upgrading from 21.3 to 22 in my last video, I think it was after an hour and 25 minutes, I gave up. And in the conclusion, my conclusion was, if 21.3 is good for you, you could stay on it because it's going to be supported till 2027. But if you really want to go to the newest version, it's best to back up your personal files and just do a fresh install. And that's what I'm doing now. So let's go back to, I'm going to go back to my bare metal computer, and let's go back to my web browser. And you can go back to the blog. This is the release note. Oops. This is the release page. So it was officially released on July 25th. It was available earlier, and some Linux tubers did videos on it before July 25th because they found some mirrors where it was available. But on their website, it was officially released on Thursday, July 25th. And then you can also look at release notes for Linux Mint 22. That's another page you can read. Codename Wilma. Again, it tells you it's going to be supported for 5 years till 2029. And they're going to talk about known issues. Shutdown timeout, VirtualBox display settings. And they're giving you some solutions to some problems you might have. XOR crash and virtual machines. Sound issues. Grub theme. Snap Store. Home directory encryption. Now, we didn't do home directory encryption. We encrypted the whole installation. So I just want to go back down to my virtual machine, and it looks like we're almost done. It's installing Grub, and it's done. And it took 12 minutes. Not bad. It just changed. Let's say 13 minutes. Took 13 minutes. Number one, I'm a really good estimator, and I was great at estimating how long it would take. 13 minutes. 13 minutes is not bad compared to Windows or some other distribution. I mean, we did a whole install in 13 minutes. And that was a lot better than trying to upgrade from the previous version, which I bailed out after an hour and a half. And I was reading on the blog page, the Linux Mint blog page. Someone wrote in, and this person said that they were trying to upgrade from 21.3 to version 22, and theirs was running for 5 hours, and it didn't complete. And finally, the person turned it off and bailed out. Imagine that. And even on the Linux Mint website, it says upgrading from the previous version to this version could take 2 hours. Why would you do that when you can do a brand new install in 13 minutes? Anyways, I'm going on too long about this, so let's restart it. Let's restart. So we're going to boot into our new system. Okay, so at this point, if you're doing this on bare metal, you're going to pull out your thumb drive and hit enter. And it's going to boot into a new system. Now, of course, this is a virtual machine. And I'm going to make this full screen. And it should take me, there it is. Please unlock the disk, crypt. And it's asking me to do this because I encrypted the whole installation. I'm going to type in my encryption password. And it was set up successfully. So now it's going to go to the login manager or my display manager, and it's going to ask me to put my password in. So now we're at the display manager or the login manager, and it's asking for my password. I'm going to put my password in. Oops. Is that not working? Okay, here. And if you want, you can click on the I just to make sure it's the correct password. And it is. I like that password. And let's just click on the I again. I don't want anyone to know my password. And then I'm going to click OK. And now we've logged into our system. So this is the welcome screen. It's going to tell you lots of stuff. You can read it if you're brand new to Linux Mint and you're brand new to Linux in general. You probably want to read this. But the next time you boot up, this page is going to come up, and I don't want it to, so I'm going to unclick it. So now the next time I boot into the system, this page won't come up. Now the resolution is off because it's a virtual machine, so I'm going to have to fix it again. But this is the last time I'm going to have to fix it. I won't have to fix it the next time. I'm going to go to display settings. I'm right clicking, display settings, and I'm going to change this to 1360 by 768. I'm going to apply it, keep new configuration. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is click on this, click on OK. Now there's already updates to do, 7 updates. And before I do the updates, and that's the first thing you should do whenever you do a new install of something, you should update it. You want to switch to local mirror? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to put my password in, and I'm going to change this to a mirror in Canada, University of Waterloo Science Club. And I'm going to change this to the same mirror. Let's apply it. It's University of Waterloo. It's a science club at the University of Waterloo, not too far from where I live. And I'm going to update the apt cache. So I'm going to click that on and let it update. So I'm just updating my mirror source. And of course, this video is going to be good to watch for someone that's brand new to Linux or for someone that's brand new to Linux Mint. And I'm going to show you the changes I like to make in Linux Mint. And I've done this in previous videos. What I'm going to show you now, I've done in previous Linux Mint videos. And I've also done in videos for Arch Linux where I'm running the Cinnamon desktop. Because this is the Cinnamon desktop, and you can have the Cinnamon desktop in Arch Linux or any other distribution. So I updated my mirror cache, and I changed my mirrors to local mirror, and I updated the cache. And now I'm going to go through this update. And it's updating the kernel, so it's going to tell me I'm going to have to do another reboot. Hit enter. And it's going through an update. So I'm going to pause the video and come back, so don't go away. So the update is finished, and it's telling me I have to reboot. Now, you only have to reboot when it's a kernel update. But one of the nice things about Linux Mint, it's going to tell you when you have to reboot. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to click on the Start menu. I'm going to click on this red one. And instead of shutting down, I'm going to restart. And of course, I'm going to have to put my encryption password in again and my user password. So it's asking for my encryption password. Put it in. And like I said, you could use the same password for encryption, root, and user, but you probably shouldn't. To be safer, you should have 3 passwords. One for encryption, one for your user, and one for root. And then if you decide to give someone else the ability to use the computer, they can have their own user password as well. Okay, so now it's asking me for my user password. And just to make sure I'm typing in the right thing, I can click it on and it brings the I. Let's turn on the I, and I've got the right password. And don't tell anybody what my password is because it's secret. It's a super secret password. Okay. So now we're in. And now you can see I don't need to show this anymore. So now you can see I didn't have to fix the resolution this time. You only have to do the resolution twice, once when you're doing your install and a second time after your installation. And of course, if you're installing Linux Mint on bare metal, you probably won't have to fix the resolution at all. I'm only having to do that because it's a virtual machine. So now we've done our installation. It's all up to date. The first thing I'm going to do is go to settings. This is settings. I'm going to make this full screen. I'm going to go to themes. I'm going to pick on a dark theme. How about that? So we don't burn out our eyes. So now I'm going to go back to settings. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to scan down. What I'm going to do is click on the firewall. It's going to ask for my password. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to bring up the firewall. So Linux Mint comes with a firewall installed, but it's turned off by default. So I'm going to toggle it on. There we go. And now it's on. The firewall is set, and that's all you have to do. Now, another thing I'm going to do is power management. I don't like my computer going to sleep. It's automatically set to 30 minutes. I'm going to say never. When the power button is pressed, I'm going to say shut down immediately. And this is all personal preference, right? Screensaver, I don't like my screensaver going on. Right now it's set to 15 minutes. I'm going to set it to never. And lock the computer when put to sleep. I'm going to turn that off. This is all personal preference. Okay. Now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to click on this thing here. It's running system checks. Set up the system restore utility. So it comes with a thing called time shift. Time shift is where it takes a snapshot of your system before you do another update. And it's a good safety valve. I never used it, but it is recommended to use it. So I'm not going to show you how to use it because I don't know how to use it. But that's there. So I'm just going to say ignore this report. Are you sure you want to ignore the report? Okay. But if you want, you can set it up. So I don't like the way this date format is. So first of all, there's your volume control. It was set like that. So I'm just going to put it to full. And this is my clock. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to toggle off this 24-hour clock because I don't like it. I like AM and PM. Display the date. Click that on. And now I'm going to close it. So now we can see it's Wednesday, July 31st, 6:24 p.m. Now another thing I'm going to do is go on the bar here and right click it. Go to applets. Click on download and let it download the applets. So we're refreshing the cache for the applets. And I'm going to click on, now you can download any one of these applets. The only one I ever use is the weather one. So I'm going to highlight it, click on the arrow to download it, and you can see it's downloading. Then I'm going to go to manage. I'm going to highlight it again, and I'm going to add the plus sign. And then I'm going to close it. So now we have the weather app. We see it's 32 degrees Celsius. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to here and I'm going to type in fonts. And I'm going to change this to 11. And let's do Ubuntu bold. And I'm going to select it. I just made the font one notch bigger and I made it bold. Okay. So we can see it's 32 degrees Celsius. We can click it on and we get the forecast. It automatically recognizes the city I live in, tells you the winds, the temperature, the humidity. You can get the forecast for other hours and other days. It's a fantastic weather app. Okay. And of course, this is the file manager. It's called Nemo. And that's it there. And I'm going to close my file manager. And of course, this is Firefox. And I'm going to close it. And it comes with a whole fantastic suite of apps. So I have a full Office suite, LibreOffice, the whole suite here. Here's your document writer. Okay, let's just turn that off. We don't need that. We don't need the release notes. And let's go back to Office. We have our spreadsheet program. It's called LibreOffice Calc, the same as Microsoft Excel. Now you see this is a bit off, right? So let's go to Tools. Let's see if we can get that to look better. Let's go to View. Let's go to, let's try Dark. Let's apply it. Let's close it. Ah, that's better. So there's our spreadsheet program. Let's close it. Here you have sound and video. Celluloid is for playing videos. Now I don't have any videos installed in this virtual machine, but there's a celluloid. I've used it lots of times. It's a good video player. You go back here and go to sound and video. You have Rhythmbox. Rhythmbox is a music player that I use all the time. Oh, look at this. We got bounced out. That's a bug, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. So let's go back in. And before okay, you know what? We're going to go to Firefox, and I'm going to go to Linux Mint. Linux Mint 22. And we're on the release notes page. So here it says XOR crash in virtual machines. So I don't know if this problem that I just had when I opened up Rhythmbox and get bounced out to my display manager or my login manager. I don't know if this is the problem or not, but it tells you to do this. So let's try this. Let's copy it. Let's open up a terminal. And you know what? I'm going to make this larger. I'm going to go to Preferences, Custom Fonts. I'm going to change this to 14. And close. Oh, that's better. Now let's paste that command in. Let's paste it in. Let's see what happens. Let's put my password in. Let's enter. I don't know if that's going to fix the problem. I knew that problem was going to happen, by the way. So let's close this, but I don't know if this is going to fix it. So let's just close this, just in case we get bounced out. Now let's open up Rhythmbox. So Rhythmbox is a great music player. And there it goes, it fixed it. How about that? So Rhythmbox is a great music player. I use it all the time. So that's how you fix the Rhythmbox. Now it says that happens in the virtual machine. I don't know if that's going to happen in bare metal, but if it does, that's how you fix it. Now I can't play any music for you because I don't have any music in this virtual machine. Now recently I did a video on how to make a bootable USB thumb drive with the brand new Linux Mint inside Windows 10, how to do it in Windows 10, and how to do it in Arch Linux. And someone asked me a question about how would you make it inside Linux Mint. So if you're running an older version of Linux Mint and you want to make a bootable thumb drive with the brand new Linux Mint, well, first of all, you would download the Linux Mint, the brand new ISO that is. You plug in your thumb drive and you just go here. Go to Accessories, go down, let's scan down, USB image writer. Now you wouldn't click on USB stick formatter, you click on USB image writer. So you download the ISO from the Linux Mint website or an ISO from some other Linux distribution website. And if it's in your downloads folder, you put it there, put your thumb drive in, click on this one, USB. So to get to that, you could just go Start, and actually you could just type in USB. And there it is. You don't want the stick formatter, you want USB image writer. Click it on. ISO image. Now I don't have an ISO image in here, but you would click this on. Go to your downloads folder or wherever folder the ISO image is and highlight it and click it on. Then USB stick. would probably automatically show up here, but if it doesn't, you click on the menu and click it on, and you would click on write. And it would probably take maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes, maybe 5 at the most. And it would make a live bootable USB thumb drive with Linux Mint on it or whatever other Linux distribution you put on it. Easy peasy. Now, another thing you might want to do is Linux Mint doesn't give you a root password, and you might want to have a root password. So what you would do is you would type in sudo password without the O and without the R, leave a space and type in root. Now, first it's going to ask you to put in your user password. I'm going to put my user password in. Now it's asking me for a new password, not for Mensch, but for root. I'm going to put my password in for root. I'm going to type it in again. And it's done. Now I have a root password, and let's see if it works. We can clear the screen like that. And let's type in SU is to switch user, or you can do SU just to get into root. Let's see if we can get into root. Asking for my password. Root's password, that is. And there we are. Now we're in root. And to get out of root, we could just exit. Go back to our user. Like I said, you could have 3 passwords, one for your encryption, one for your user, one for root, and then you could have a 4th user for another user, or a 5th user, or a 5th password for another user. Now, let's say when you log into your system, you want your number locks, the side number lock keypad to automatically turn on when you boot into the system. So perhaps you have letters and numbers as your user password, and when you're at the login screen, you'd like the number keypad to be turned on. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to go here. You're going to go into settings. Let's make it full screen. Let's go to the bottom. We're going to go to login window. Click it on. It's going to ask for your password. So you're going to put your password in. And it's going to open up with this one. Let's see if we can make this full screen. Yes, we can. Then you're going to go to settings. So we're on appearance right now. We're going to go to settings. See here it says activate numlock. But see, you can't toggle it on. It's dead. And the reason why it's dead is because we have to download a package. And you can download this package in the terminal or in the software center. I'm going to do it in the software center. We're going to close that. Let's close that. Let's go here, and this is the software center. And let's make it full screen. So this is the software center, and we're going to do a search. Go into the search field here, and we're going to do a search for numlock. And there it is there. We're going to click it on. And we're going to click on install to install this package called numlock X. Let's install it. It's asking for my password, so I'm going to put my password in, hit enter. And it's installing it. And you can see it installing up here, this blue line. And this won't take long to install because it's a small package, and it's done. So now I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to my settings, and I'm going to make it full screen. I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to go to the login window. It's going to ask for my password, and I put the wrong password in. So I'm going to put my password in again and hit enter. And I'm going to make this full screen. We're going to click on settings. And now we're going to activate numlock. Let's see if it works. There we go. It toggled on. So now I'm going to close this. So now when I reboot my system and I get to the login screen or the display manager, my side number keys are automatically going to be turned on. Now, if you don't like the background, you could change desktop background. And we have different types of wallpapers here. And you can go to brand new wallpapers for Wilma are really nice. Look at these. Ooh, it doesn't look like they have their old wallpapers here. How about that? They got rid of their old wallpapers. That's Okay. But we have wallpapers for Wilma. Let's check this one out. Let's minimize that. Oh, wow. I like that. I like dark themes. And let's check out this one. That's nice too. And what about this one? Snow Mountain? Nice. Moon phases. And let's go back. Let's try White Sands before I... Oh, that's nice too. I like that. Of course, if you just want to use the Linux Mint wallpaper, you can. Oh, I don't like that one. Actually, I like this one. This is an old one. For some reason, this is the wallpaper that was this was the default wallpaper the very first time I installed Linux Mint. I like this. So you have all kinds of programs in here. You have Disk Analyzer. This is going to show you how much room space you have left on your hard drive. You have all kinds of applications in here. Administration stuff, backup tool. We have System Monitor. You can click it on. You have all your processes. If you need to kill something that's you can't shut down, you can go into here, click it, right click it, and you can terminate it or kill it. Okay. And you can go to resources, and this shows you your CPUs, your memory, your swap, and so forth. We have another package manager here. It's called Synaptic Package Manager. This is part of the Debian. Let's put my password in, and you can do a search for a package. I want to see if HTOP is installed. HTOP is not installed. So let's do it. Let's do a search for HTOP. Right click it. Mark for installation. Apply. Apply. And it's installing HTOP. So this is the Synaptic Package Manager, and it's done. Let's close it. Let's close that. Let's open up a terminal. Let's type in HTOP and see if HTOP is working. There it is. It's working. Okay. Let's do neo fetch. And there we are. We are in Linux Mint 22. And that's it. In this video, I went through an install of the brand new Linux Mint 22 Wilma. And it only took 13 minutes. And I gave you a tour of how I like to configure it and use it. And this went a lot better than it did when I was trying to upgrade from 21.3 to 22 in my last video. I have to say that Linux Mint is a fantastic distribution. It was my first Linux distribution, and I recommend it to people coming over from Windows, and for new users, and for people who don't want to do a lot of stuff in the terminal. I highly recommend Linux Mint. It is fantastic. And I'm a bit sorry that I was too harsh in my last video on Linux Mint when I wasn't able to upgrade it from 21.3 to version 22. I guess it was my fault. I don't know. Anyways, I felt a bit bad. But Linux Mint is fantastic, and I recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.